Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about Sitecore 8 personalization using content profiling. Here's Dalibor to give you a demonstration.
Hi, I'm Dalibor from Korea, and in this video I'll show you one way of using content profiling in Sitecore for personalizing the content you display on your website. Content profiling is a process of categorizing your web pages into various categories that are of interest to you. For example, if you run an online bookshop, you might want to categorize your pages by literature genres, so you would have categories like fiction, drama, romance, and children's literature. Parallel to that, you might also categorize your content by other criteria, for instance, by target audience, where you might have categories like small kids, school kids, adults, and so on. Let me show you an example of that using Sitecore's Habitat demo site. It's the site that Sitecore built, and you can freely download and use it to try something or to see how the site is built using Sitecore. Just Google for Sitecore Habitat and you will find everything you need. I have that site installed, and now I'm just going to log in to Sitecore dashboard for that site. And go into Content Editor. Profiles are kept under System, Marketing Control Panel, Profiles. You can see that we already have some profiles set up here. These are the profiles that come with the installation of Habitat site, but you can of course add your own profiles as you wish. Each of these profiles represents a criteria by which we want to categorize our web pages. For example, we have focus profile, which is used for determining what is the focus of a particular page. So it has categories or profile keys, as they are called in Sitecore. These are background, practical, process, and scope. There can be any number of profile keys defined here. We also have a function profile, which is used for determining what is the function of a particular page. Is it a page that is supposed to build trust or call to action, create desire, or define a concept? Each of these profile keys have minimum and maximum values which can be used for that profile key when we assign it on the page level. Min value here is empty, which means it's 0 by default, and it can go up to 10. You can set this value as high as you want. This will be much easier to understand if we see an example. I'll go to one of my pages, for example, this more info page. Up here in the top right corner, you see the button for setting up profile cards for that item. When you click on it, we get a list of profiles that we have defined, and we can go in and edit any of them. When we click on Edit, we get a window where we can set the values for each of the profile keys in that profile. For example, we can say that the focus of this page is, let's say, value 8 for practical, value 5 for background. This page has nothing to do with process or scope, so we'll leave that at 0. We also get a nice graphic representing the values we chose. Now, this is all fine, but we might have many pages on our website that will share the same values for these profile keys. To save us the trouble of defining these values for each page individually, we can define profile cards, which are just a predefined set of values that we can assign to a page at once. Let's quickly see how that is done. I'll save this and we'll come back to it later. I'll go back to our profiles, and we can create a profile card for function profile. Here are the profile cards. I'm going to insert a new profile card. I'll call it, let's say, call to action pages. And here we can set up the values of each profile key for our profile card. Let's say that we'll set call action to maximum, to 10. Say we'll set create desire to 7, build trust to 2, and define concept to 1. Let's save that. And we'll quickly create another one. Let's call this one conceptual page. Let's say that such pages have more to do with defining concept, so we'll set that pretty high. Let's say 9. And building trust, we'll say 5. And pages of this type have less to do with call to action and create desire, so we'll set each of these to just the value 2. Save that. On this profile cards item, in this authoring selection field, we can choose if we'll be able to assign just one or multiple profile cards at once to a page. If we allow for multiple profile cards to be assigned, they can all be treated as equal, or we can define the weight percentage for each of the assigned profile cards. For this example, we'll keep this at single. Save that and go back to our more info page, where we have already set up that profile values for focus profile. We'll now go in and now define profile values for function profile. At this time, we'll use a profile card instead of setting individual values. So we can choose any of the 2 profile cards that we defined. Let's say we can choose call to action pages. Of course, we can always customize the values like we did for the first profile, but for this example, let's keep this to use profile card call to action pages. But what do these values exactly mean? Well, when the visitor comes to this more info page, Sitecore will add this many points to that visitor's behavior profile. So by coming to this page, our visitor will get 10 additional points assigned to his call to action profile, 7 points to his create desire profile key, 2 points to building trust, and 1 point to define concept profile keys. These are the points or values we defined when we set up this call to action profile card. When we have defined the profile values for all our pages, each page will, of course, have its own different values based on the page's content. The visitors will accrue these points over time as they browse through our website, and after some time, we'll be able to tell from these accrued points what are the interests of each of our visitors. For example, if some visitors are often opening pages with high call to action score, we will know that that group of visitors is more interested in pages that have call to action focus than in pages that, for instance, define concepts. That way, we have learned valuable information about our visitors, and we can personalize the content on our website so that the next time such a visitor comes to the website, we serve him personalized content, and that will keep the visitor engaged on our website and potentially provide more value to our business. Let's see how the personalization is done. We're going to save that and close the content editor. We're done here. We'll now go to Experience Editor, which is a tool for designing and personalizing content. I've talked about personalizations in general in one of our previous videos, so I won't go into many details about that now. In this example, we could personalize this component here, this first page teaser. I'll go to personalization screen for that component, add a new condition. Let's say I'll call it call to action people. highlighted the rules, and I want to choose a condition that has something to do with profile keys. So this one is the one I'm looking for, where the value of the specific profile key in the content behavior profile compares to specific value. And I'll say I want to use call to action profile key, and I want this condition to be true when the value of that profile key for specific visitors is greater than, let's say, 20. Okay, I'm now done with this condition. Now I need to tell Sitecore what do I want to do with the content when this condition is met. So I'll click on this button and I'll say, okay, instead of introduction, display more info instead. Okay. You can see that our component now has two variants. One is default and one is for call to action people that will be displayed once our visitor has more than 20 points accrued on its call to action profile key. Let's save that. And let's go and see how that looks from the visitor's perspective. Remember that we've set up the profiles so that we get 10 call to action points each time we visit more info page. So let's do that. Back to the home page, you can see that it's displaying the default content. This was my first visit to more info page, so at this point I have accrued 10 points. If I visit it again, I will accrue a total of 20 points, and I'll go to some other page, and now I'm doing my third visit to more info, so by this time I must have accrued 30 points, so my personalization should kick in. But we also need to do one little trick, and that is to press this end visit button here. This is just a technical trick to make the website write the analytics data from session into a database. This collected historic behavior data is not supposed to be used immediately. This is something that gets collected over a period of time, and in normal condition, it's written into the database only when the session ends, and then the data can be used by personalizations. This is done because of performance reasons to minimize sending data to database, but for the purpose of this demo, we don't want to wait for that. We want to use the data immediately, so that's why this functionality is here in Habitat website. But of course, your production site will not have that. So let's click that. And now we're back on our home page. We can see that the content is now personalized. It has been changed for our visitors. I hope you found this useful. We have seen how we can do content profiling and how we can use collected profile data to personalize our website.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Sarah from Korea, and thanks for watching.